The word for you today. Our lesson today is Your Life is a Letter, part 2. Comes out of 2 Corinthians chapter 3, verse 18. Paul is writing and he's telling us about how to communicate what Christ has done in us. He says, "And we, who with unveiled faces all reflect the Lord's glory, are being transformed into his likeness with ever-increasing glory, which comes from the Lord, who is the Spirit." Talks about your life as a letter. A letter is something that communicates. We should be able to communicate to people Christ in us just simply by our countenance, by the way that we look. Do we go around frowning? I can remember some people growing up when I was in church. I was growing up, and these people would just have the most awful look on their face and just talking about what a great life the Christian life is. And I'm thinking, oh my goodness, it communicated something totally different to me. But Paul, he says, and we, he's talking about believers, and we who with unveiled faces reflect the Lord's glory. Remember when reading the Bible where Moses met with the Lord, and then he had to wear a veil over his face because he was just glowing after being in the presence of the Lord. And the people couldn't stand the glow. It was too bright. It would just blind them. And so he had to wear a veil over himself for a while because of the glow that came. It's talking about us unveiled faces. And our relationship with Christ should be such that the time we spend with God in prayer, Bible study, just in our own quiet time, it should leave us with a joyful. It doesn't mean we go around smiling all the time. It's just, sometimes life isn't good. But still, in spite of the difficult times, there's still a hope, a joy there. It says, who with unveiled faces reflect the Lord's glory. We are being transformed into his likeness with ever-increasing glory. As we grow in our relationship with Christ, it becomes stronger in us. Some people, when they're a young child, and as they grow older, they become and look more and more and more like one of their parents or grandparents. And that's what, as we grow and we grow in our relationship with Christ, we should see more, people should see more and more of the joy of Christ in us. It says, which comes from the Lord, who is the Spirit. The transforming work is not done by us smiling all the time. The transforming work is not us working harder. The transforming work is done by the Holy Spirit in us. It's something that comes from the inside out, not faking it on the outside and trying to make people believe something. Just as the Israelites looked at Moses and they hid their faces because of the glow, they could tell he had been with the Lord. So let me ask you, do people, when they see you, can they tell that you have spent time with God today? Is there and I'm not talking about going around smiling all the time, because sometimes we just don't feel like smiling. But even if we're not smiling, there's a purpose, there's a hope, there's a joy. As we go about our lives, are we gloomy and negative? Do we display hope and joy in our attitude? What do people see in us when they look at us? If somebody were to look at you, a young child were to look at you, would they want to be like you? Would they want to know, hey, what makes this person this way? Or would they want to get away from you really quick? There was, many years ago, there was a great missionary, and he was home on furlough, and he was passing through the city of Stonington, Connecticut. And a young boy happened to be where he went by, and the young boy from church, he knew who the missionary was, and as he saw him, there was something about the missionary that just absolutely caught his attention. And he, as the missionary was home, he looked for every opportunity to see this missionary, just to watch him as he interacted with people and on. There was something about the missionary that just stuck with this young boy. Many years later, the young boy actually became a very famous preacher. His name was Henry Clay Trumbull. And he wrote a book, and he said what a boy saw in the face of this missionary. Wouldn't it be something if a young child saw something in you or me that gave them hope, gave them encouragement. Folks, we live in a time right now where there's a lot of kids that need encouragement. They need hope. And, I can think of many of you that what an encouragement, what a hope you are to the younger generation. You've been through things that they're going to go through. And they can see you on this side of it thinking, okay, maybe there's hope for me. You can give that child, that person, that young person, you can give them hope and encouragement. But again, it doesn't come from faking it. It comes from spending time with God and the Holy Spirit living through us. There's a joy. There's a joy that we cannot conjure up in our own self. It comes from within us. So, spend time today with God. It doesn't have to be a long time, but spend time with Him and see the joy of being with the Lord, and then let that show in you. Why? So that it makes a difference in others. Have a good day.